What's up, YouTube? It's the Ineradicable Iconoclast. Now, in the light of the Ferguson, Missouri rioting, protesting, and scandal, and however else you'd like to describe this, um, we've seen a lot of things come out lately. We've seen that some of the police officers involved in the shooting, um, some of the police officers involved in alleged peacekeeping against the protesters and looters, have come up with a lot of issues in their past. One of them involved beating a 12-year-old unarmed child. But that's not what I'm talking about. There is another story, one that happened 5 days ago, that hasn't really been publicized much. There was a teenager in, I believe it was Utah, who was shot and killed, just like Michael Brown. He was unarmed. He was shot and killed by another officer. I saw the video. It's a little shaky, so you can't see everything. But the soon-to-be victim was lying on the ground, wasn't fighting, wasn't doing anything. He was just lying there. He was complying with the police, and yet they shot him dead and then handcuffed him. So why haven't we heard about this? Is it just that Ferguson is such a big story that this one kind of got swept under the rug? No. The reason we haven't heard about this one is because it was a black officer and a white team. Now, I'm not trying to make this about race. Unfortunately, it's already been made about race. Groups of people are saying that it's being swept under the rug because it's a black officer and a white team. Other people say that it got swept under the rug by accident. It doesn't really matter why it got swept under the rug. The truth is, rather than seeing it as, well, it's not really newsworthy because it doesn't show racism, which is the underlying cause of the protests and the looting and all of that in Ferguson. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be race, because it is not. In this case, the only color that matters is the blue. It's not about a white guy got shot by a black officer or a black guy got shot by a white officer. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about cop shot unarmed teenager. Now, this kid Taylor in Utah, he was unarmed. He had headphones in and he was walking down the street. He had a warrant. The police stopped him. He went to the ground. He didn't run. He didn't challenge the officer. He did nothing except lay on the ground, and they shot him. So why does it matter what his race is? It doesn't. The problem here, and some of you may have seen on my Twitter last night that I posted a video of a man being abused quite a bit by the police in a Walmart. They kicked him in the head. They knelt on his head. It was 3 officers against an allegedly drunk man who wasn't fighting back. The only movement he did was he tried to move a little bit when they were putting him into a hold, which is perfectly reasonable to say maybe he was shifting, a little bit uncomfortable. But no, they punched him repeatedly in the head. He wasn't trying to get up. He was a drunk guy at Walmart. They punched him in the head. They knelt on his head while they handcuffed him, and then they dragged him out. Now, I had difficulty telling exactly what race that man was, but again, that is a perfect example of the police brutality we're seeing everywhere. And this isn't about race. This isn't, because we have what has begun, and Ferguson is a perfect example of it, is that now we have a culture where we can't trust the police. So if somebody does resist arrest, guess what? They're trying to save their lives now, because it's become quite obvious that the cops are not out there to protect us. They're not. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, other than white, as I've heard of others described. The ones that get the most publicity are, granted, the white officer shoots black teen or black man or whatever. White killing black is unfortunately the one that gets the most publicity, largely because of the NAACP. Now, in 5 days, I haven't seen the NAACP come out even once about this Utah shooting. Why? NAACP should be, they should speak out about all of this. They should do it just like I'm doing. I don't care what race the officer is. I don't care what race the victim is. What I care about is that Blue killed a civilian that was unarmed. Do you see where I'm going? Please understand that it is not black versus white. That's not how the world works. There are racist people, absolutely. Without a doubt, there are racist people. There are white officers that will kill black people because they're racist. There are black officers that will kill white people because they're racist. There are Hispanic officers that will kill non-Hispanics because they're racist. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is not a case of, well, black people can't make it in this world. Because that's blatantly untrue. This is not a case of racism. This is a case of police action on unarmed civilians. Unjustified. Michael Brown did not fight back. Or if he did, it's probably because he was afraid of the cops. This Taylor kid did not fight back against the cops. That we can see. He did not fight back. The guy in Walmart didn't really fight back. You know, he did move around a little bit, but again, he's probably just trying to get comfortable. Those holds are very uncomfortable. Eric Garner. We don't know that he actually resisted arrest. They say he resisted arrest, but resisting arrest can be as much as, what do you mean? You can't arrest me. You don't have a warrant. That is resisting arrest in some police officers' eyes. No reports say he ran or he fought off the police. The police are responding with lethal action, and that needs to stop. I don't give a shit what race anybody involved in these situations is. That is the true problem. It's not white versus black. It really is blue against the rest of us. That's what really needs to change. Because once that changes, maybe all the rest of it will fall in line. I do know that if we can't trust the police, it's a scary thought if the police are the enemy. Which, unfortunately, it's starting to look like the majority of the police are. So, with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments down below, or on Twitter, or whatever. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a case of the police as a whole acting out of turn? Or do you think that maybe there is some racial motivation across the board? I'm not talking one officer or two officers. I'm talking about the entire situation. Do you think it is the white officers against black people, and that this black officer who shot the white teen was just a fluke? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Ineradicable Iconoclast, and I'll see you around.